There's so much speculation right now about ties between Jeffrey Epstein and Israel. And for a long time, anyone who stressed those ties, looked at those ties, was called a conspiracy theorist, was called an anti-Semite. Um, let's look only at the facts and of what we know about this connection, and you can make up your own mind as to how deep these ties go. So, really, the first place you want to start with these ties is looking at Ghislaine Maxwell and her father's ties to Israel. So, her father, you might know, is Robert Maxwell, who was a British media tycoon, died in the early 1990s, heavily involved in the creation of Israel. He was one of the movers and shakers behind the Czechoslovakian arms deal in 1948 that allowed Israel to win that war. After that, his ties with Israel deepened even further. He's very widely believed to have worked for the Mossad. Even Bergman's book about the Mossad mentions that Maxwell was working for them on several projects. And of course, his daughter ends up being not only the sort of life partner in a very alternative lifestyle kind of way of Jeffrey Epstein, but also someone who procures a lot of things for him, including young women, and makes a lot of his connections. A lot of those connections were with Israel. What connections have we seen between Epstein directly and Israel? One of the first incidences that we see of Epstein working in order to further Israeli interests is in 2013 when he helped back channel talks between Israel and Russia. If you remember, at that time, 2013 was the height of the Syrian civil war. Israel was bombing inside Syria, bombing Iranian positions and Hezbollah, but there was concern that it would blow up Russian targets and that the Russians would shoot down Israeli planes. According to leaked emails, private meetings between Ehud Barak and Vladimir Putin occurred in 2013 under the auspices of Epstein, who put them both together. Barak and Epstein attempted to influence US policy to push for military strikes and maneuver a Russian brokered solution there that was favorable to Israel. They also tried to broker a deal that would remove Assad, in also something that Israel had asked them to do. Epstein kept Barak informed with intelligence from Russian elite circles that he had obtained. Um, that wasn't the only thing that he did for Israel. Epstein also helped Israel broker a deal with Cote d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, a nation in Africa. They have strong security ties, again, through the connection of Epstein and Barak. Barak met with Cote d'Ivoire's president and his inner circle. They had a deal about infrastructure on phones, internet, cyber surveillance. Official diplomatic agreements between Israel and Cote d'Ivoire were signed in 2014. A lot of the back work for that deal was enabled by Epstein's facilitation. And so, as we can see, a lot of this hinges on Ehud Barak. As we know, Ehud Barak, former prime minister of Israel, and the most decorated soldier in its history, um, has also been accused credibly of raping and beating one of the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse, was often a guest at Epstein's house. Epstein hosted senior Israeli intelligence official Yoni Koren at his Manhattan apartment multiple times. Koren was Barak's close aide. There's also in the new email releases data about payments that were made uh, from Epstein to Yoni Koren. Leaked emails and calendars show Epstein facilitating financial transfers and courier activities involving both Koren and Barak. Considering that he is a senior military intelligence officer, Koren, the fact already ties him into Israeli intelligence. Epstein helped Barak network and introduced him to influential US figures like Leon Panetta and Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison is, of course, now the owner of CBS and Paramount, building that into a pro Israel influence network. Uh, that's not the only deal. There also was a deal to expand intelligence partnerships between Israel and Mongolia, also brokered by Epstein. The those are just the things that we know about. So this raises a lot of questions about how deep was Israel's influence over Epstein? Who was pulling the strings there? Was Israel pulling the strings on Epstein through perhaps Maxwell, through perhaps Ehud Barak, or was Epstein using Israel for his own purposes, or was it just a meeting of interests? What's clear is that the link between Epstein and Israel is real, well documented, involves relationships with several countries, involves payments that are now documented. This is not anti Semitic. It's not a conspiracy. It's a fact. And Israel needs to answer a lot of questions about its connection to Epstein. And because we're talking about activity that is incredibly sensitive and that could involve officials being blackmailed, there's been a lot of speculation that Israel has used Epstein and has used these intelligence connections to blackmail people into um, positions that are more convenient for Israel. There's no evidence of that whatsoever yet, but there is evidence of Epstein and Israel working in tandem to achieve several important goals. And this is something everyone's definitely going to want to keep paying attention to.